Do you know you can be a billionaire or not? Well, that depends on how well you know about agriculture and agribusiness.
Farmer is a poor person. Farmer is a bad because they actually revolve around that poverty cycle. I farm now. I carry it to the market to sell at because I don't have machine to process, add value, or even preserve. And I take it to the farm, and the middleman that has money is okay. It prices me very low, and I sell at maybe below. I just want to get money to go buy some things and take back home because my family is expecting that I'll come back. I think the first thing works as a startup for agriculture is getting the knowledge. So, but most people just feel it's about capital, but it's not capital. Capital is even like maybe the third thing that you list. So you need to pick a niche, like he said in.
So, and this is why I'm introducing you to the Agribusiness Digest, which is going to bring to you opportunities, information, trends, and all you have to know about agriculture and agribusiness. My name is Usman Mariam Oiza, and I'm your host for the Agribusiness Digest. I'm most excited today because I have a guest with me who has over a decade first-hand experience in agribusiness, both in Nigeria and in diaspora. This is no other person but Ahmed Sefia Beauty. Good to have you here, Ma.
That is a pleasure. Thank you, Miriam.
Well,
I'm excited to be here today.
you look super excited, I would say. All right, that's beautiful. So, tell us about yourself.
Myself. Okay, let me just give you a sneak peek into myself. Okay, I'm a young girl that's stumbled into agriculture. I wanted to be a medical doctor. At some point, I wanted to be.
If want to go into other professions.
Okay, that's kind of family setting where everybody feels you just read a professional course. But at the end of the day, I'm happy I read agriculture, and it's been a very tough career progression, but quite interesting and quite insightful. And I've been trying so hard to navigate through, and I can only say alhamdulillah. So it's been a long time coming, and I've been able to garner experience, not just in the agri sector, but also in terms of sales and marketing, leadership, talent management, knowledge sharing, and I think I've also done a lot of stakeholder engagement, community building, because this is still towards my specific profession, which is extension education. So, but I think that's just a little bit about me. I might be sharing more as the conversation goes.
Well, I must say that was a very, very wonderful one. If I were to be writing, my 40 list would have been full by now. Okay, tell us about how you were able to dive into the agribusiness sector. Was it something you planned, or well, is it just came to light?
Oh, okay. You still want me to tell that story? I'm really, like I said, I stumbled into agriculture. I wanted to read medicine, so I can say categorically up until my 300 level. From 300, I was still writing jam, but it came to a point where I just told myself that I should just hold myself accountable and make do with what I have. So that particular day, I think I saw a lecturer of mine in class, and he was talking about the challenges in agricultural sector. So, excuse me. And I just told myself, why don't I just make a change? And I just sat up and I made up my mind, and I said to put in more effort. It was so glaring for a student that when they post results on the notice board, they always say, oh, she's just a pretty face. She doesn't know anything. So by the time I sat up and I made up my mind, my grades escalated so much that I think the exam malpractice boards even had to invite me. They wanted to check my results. Yeah. Oh, yes, because there was only a time I was almost at the point of provision. My point was very low. Why? Because I was more invested in writing JAMP than attending lectures and writing the exams to pass. Because I still wanted to read medicine. But thank God for my level coordinator who was very well into the audits that I had. And yes, I didn't come out as one of the best students, but I think today I'm one of the trailblazers in that sector. That's more my peers. and years, and that's one thing I still tell people, that whatever life gives you, you just try to make the best out of it. Sometimes you don't get what you want, but whatever is presented before you, you can make the best out of it. It's not easy. I've had opportunities to do white collar job. Over a decade, I've been working in the agriculture sector, aside my other experiences in marketing and the rest of them, which culminates almost up to 18 years experience. I can tell you that I've been on the field. Yes, from one project to another. I've never really sat in the office except for my current position. So I've garnered a lot of experience working with in the rural setting with smallholder farmers, and it's been so interesting for me. In fact, I think God made the best choice for me. I didn't just know that this was supposed to be my career. Yeah, because as much as it was tedious, coupled with navigating rural areas and the insecurity at some points, but I found out that I'm able to impact life. I can tell you that there are people that have worked with, like, eight years ago, farmers, and they sit down my line once in a while to say, Sefia, Kike, and now where the fire, and that alone is satisfaction for me. So I stumbled into it, but alhamdulillah, I'm enjoying it to the best because it has been able to help me impact people's life, which is part of my own core values. And I think that's my drive in life. That's my ultimate goal, to be able to impact life and live a legacy that I can be remembered for.
Wow. I'm really amazed by your story. So, I can say for a fact that there are lots of students that study agriculture or that are in school studying agriculture that feel like, what's there for me in agriculture? What's there for me in agriculture? I mean, due to what they are saying, the market trends and all of that. So, what would you say about that aspect of the youths in agriculture or coming into agriculture, or that those that are already in agriculture?
Okay, I want to say that, okay, during my time out, like I said, I think at that period, many parents don't even fancy their children going to read that paper. Yeah, I remember my dad tell me that when I was not see that I've been shifted to go and write jump again. But my mom was like, just calm down a little bit. And I didn't even tell my dad I was reading agric. I just pretended I was a medical student. And I read from the very yes, until I finished and I showed him my certificate. But I'll tell you categorically, what I think changed the ideology about agriculture that made it become an opportunity that even youths are willing to delve into, and even parents are now advising their children apply agriculture, apply aquaculture, read one course or the other in agriculture. Easy agricultural transformation agenda report said that was enacted by former President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, which actually tried to redefine and transform agriculture into a business. It make people to see the business aspect of agriculture, because of course before now most of our people just do agriculture like, oh, my grandfather farmed agriculture, my great grandfather, it was more like agriculture, where every household just has to farm, not because they want to make a business out of it, but because it's like a heritage. But at some point, everyone is now saying, oh, there's a business side of agriculture. And I tell you for a fact that before I defended my final year project, I got a job offer. Yes, that was how lucrative it was. That was what that policy brought then. The way it just made it a dive. Okay. And everybody had to embrace it. In my 100 level, 200 level, I don't think we were up to 100 in class. And more than 90%, more than 90 of us didn't apply for agriculture. Yes, and they brought us from different departments. But in my final year, our faculty had to be expanded because of that policy. So they now had to break agriculture into different phases: fishery, aquaculture, animal production, food processing, and the rest of them. In fact, extension, economics, all those courses, they were all bundled initially, be agriculture, but now you have them in single honors. So it became it just boosts the opportunities. And every parent wants the child to be successful. That's the sense of going to school, right, in a degree. So when last hour there's the opportunity and people are getting job, why not just go and read it? So you could see that our 100 level, when I was in my final year, there were more than 500. Getting to 1,000, so much that our faculty wasn't even enough to contain them, and they had to take them to write exams in other departments. So there's a lot of opportunity for young persons in agriculture. Agriculture is is very, very broad, and it's so interconnected with every other ecosystem. So if you want to take agriculture, I will say, oh, agriculture is life. Yes, of course, because even this clothes they are wearing is from agriculture. It's from cotton, textile. Before you now go through all the value chain and you have what you have here now. So is it the food that you eat? Is it medicine? Whatever it is that you think as at all, whether it's furniture, your building, everything still stems down.
It's the processing aspect that brings it out.
Everything. So it still stems down to agriculture, but people don't see it because it was initially very heavily bundled. So everybody just say, when you just say, oh, agriculture, everybody just thinks you just go and till the land. Yeah, it was fun. Make your villages, but there's a whole lot of value chain in agriculture, from production to processing, logistics and distribution, warehousing, storage, even processor itself has primary process, secondary process, and tertiary. Then there's export, there's local market, there's agricultural marketing, sales and marketing. You have branding for agri products. We will have support services, right? To have middlemen that are there, and a lot agents, and there's a lot of them. So it's interconnected with every other different sector that you think. So it all depends on from which prism are you looking at agriculture. But I can tell you for a fact that till tomorrow, there is abundance of opportunity for every young person in agriculture. It all now depends on, do you have the capacity, and where are you looking at it from, and how do you intend to want to go into agriculture, and what area do you think works perfectly well for you as a young person?
Wow, that's a beautiful one, knowing the fact that there are a lot of opportunities in agriculture, even as a young person, as a startup, or even someone that didn't even read agriculture, but you just fancy it and it's something you want to go into. Wow, this really calming my nerves though. Honestly, I'm impressed.
Yeah, so definitely. So if you, even if you didn't read agriculture and you think you want to go into agriculture, I think you have to bring that knowledge gap. So you go for training. So for me, I think the first thing works as a startup for agriculture, in the agricultural space rather, is getting the knowledge, the hard knowledge. But most people just feel it's about capital, but it's not capital. Capital is even like maybe the third thing that you need. You have to get that knowledge. You have to understand what you are going to. Is it poultry you want to go through? Is it fishery?
So you need to pick a niche, like it said.
So beautiful. Pick a niche. Is it production you want to go to? Do you think this production aligns with your personal thoughts as a person? Because of course, I have been able to mentor a lot of youths across Africa. Yes, we even concluded some programs, not quite long. And I always tell them that the first point for you to set up a startup, as you have an idea as a young person, is to first of all study your own personal SWOT. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? The opportunities and the threat and the threat. Then the area you think you have interest in and you want, that you are so passionate about it and culture and you want to go into, does it align with your SWOT as a person? If it doesn't align with your SWOT as a person, how do you think you want to mitigate it? What maybe those spices that you think you are going to use to strengthen your weaknesses and ameliorate all the traits in what you want to go into as well.
That's a really beautiful one, identifying your SWOT as an individual to know what to, honestly, some people go into agriculture because they feel like my friend is doing this, beautiful, or I've heard about stories of this person did this person did this, and it came out so nice, but they won't know that they've not identified their SWOT.
So that it even works perfectly for you. So let me give you a practical example.
Okay.
Me personally, I'm not a routine person, right? I am not a routine person. But there are people who wake up every day to do the same thing. So those kind of people, they are good to maybe go into animal husbandry, livestock, farming, poultry, fisheries, snailry, apiary, and the rest of them, because those are routine. You have to wake up every morning, feed your animals, feed your poultry, feed your fishes. You tend to clean their housing, you go in the evening again, you do that, you provide them medicines, but it won't work.
So it's more like a cycle for
beautiful. So it doesn't work for me as a person. So I think where I'll do better with my own SWOT is crop production, because I can say, oh, I want to farm maize. It's just within 3 months, right? And I can only visit my farm 15 times. I already have it in my head. But if you have to tell me to go to the farm in the morning and go to the farm in the night and go to the farm tomorrow, I don't be able to do it. It doesn't work for me. So it might work beautifully for you, but it doesn't work for me. So that is where I say you should study your SWOT. But if you feel because Amadi is doing it and he's already a billionaire, what she wants to go and do it? What if you are not able to wake up from your sleep to go and feed the chickens? Or it's so cold and you can't wake up in the middle of the night to go and light the lamp for them to warm up. And you wake up in the morning and your chickens are dead. And you're now shouting, agriculture don't go do, don't go there. Because so this is a practical example of what it is. And again, if you know you don't have the time, you are not committed, don't even go into production in aspect of agriculture. You can go into processing, you can go into marketing, you can go into commodity aggregation and integration. That doesn't need so much time and commitment. And you can even run the business by proxy.
Okay, wow. So let's go on a quick short break as we'll continue from where we stopped.
I hope you are offering me food from the farm.
Freshly was made.
Yeah, I can't see them on the table. Maybe subsequently sure.
Yeah, have them come in. Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. And to my guest, why do you think agribusiness is an important sector in this space currently?
Why do I think? Or is actually an important story? Is it sort of okay? I think all over the world, agribusiness has gotten a lot of attention. Aside the cliche of diversification, yeah, which of course diversification has been sectored around countries that are oil producing countries. However, the issue of food insecurity, let me just focus on that, has been a major reason why there's been a lot of attention surrounding agriculture and every other sectors that are providing support for agriculture, like renewable energy. They've gotten a lot of attention because of food insecurity. So according to statistics, 50% of our produce are lost to food loss because of post-harvest loss. That's what post-harvest loss. And I think about 50% of this food that is lost, the major factor is post-harvest loss. Where farmers produce, and because they don't have facilities for machinery, even value addition. Let's not even go too far to the story, like for them to dry very well, bag, or even mill it and rebag again, where they are able to make a wider profit margin and a markup. So you find that at the end of the day, they carry this produce, maybe fresh corn, they take it to the market, and maybe when there is so much surplus in the market, because of course everybody's bringing at harvest period, all the farmers are going to farm gate markets. So, but if they have support, machinery, infrastructure to add some value, and they are able to store them, because when you add value, you're able to preserve it, reduced. If you've reformed the produce, you're taking it from produce to products, and you can now preserve it for a while, it will reduce the surge in the markets, and the prices will be able to rise a little bit. You don't have forces of market style demand and supply acts in the markets here. But where they don't even have a dehusker, a rice winning machine, the drying machine, the hydrator, everybody's just taking their fresh produce to the market so that it will not spoil. And then there's so much, the market is flooded, there's surge. The middlemen and the rest of them that have the money in the pocket, they come there and they price and price and price. And the farmers are like, oh, we can't sell at such price. But by evening, by dusk, they want to go back home with money. And they are now at that vulnerable position, and they sell very, very cheaper rate than what they were even offered earlier. Because, of course, you don't want to come to the market and not have money to take your goods. But that's how the farm gate works. So you find out that already from that very point, they're already running a loss. And some people who are a little bit, depends on their poor decision making, they'll say, no, they rather than feed the produce to their animals. Maybe people that sell vegetables, they go and take it to their animals. And some, if you go to some farm gates, sometimes you see fruit and vegetables. This that's harvest loss. So now if you go deeper into it a little bit, you now look at malnutrition. So currently, I think over 30 million Nigerians are actually at the vulnerable place where they can't afford food. They are affected by food insecurity. And over 5.4 million children are suffering acute malnutrition. Because, of course, when 50% of the food we produce gets lost to post-harvest, how many do you will now have to reach itself? And then there's the issue of economic emancipation, poverty, hunger, where people don't have enough purchasing power to buy what they want to eat. Then conflict and issue of insecurity is there. Then issue of sustainability. These are all issues that when you look at them, they are factors that are surrounding why food insecurity is so high. Then the of them is climate. I think last year we all witnessed climate affected us, and there was a lot of we had dry spell. In fact, even some maize, some grain in the market, you find out that the seeds are not looking so good. We can't even make very good powder. I'm a food processor, so I buy them to process. So you can't even make good powder from them. So, and there's also a projection that by the middle of 2026, over 35 million people are going to be susceptible to hunger and malnutrition. Nutrition, yes. So that is why agribusiness has been a very important discussion in the space currently globally. Globally, it's not like an African issue or a Nigerian issue. But when you come down to Nigeria, we can discuss how it affects us. Every nation discuss how it affects them. And it's now also depends on what the government policies they are enacting to cushion these effects. Every other countries they are also looking at policies and intervention projects that can cushion the effects of food insecurity and how they can reduce drive security of food. And we can say that in Nigeria there's been a lot in I think the first thing the president did when he come on board was to change the name of foods of the ministry and added food security there. Security rings a bell in everybody's the head. So it's that mindset that, oh, we are trying to tackle food security. But of course, we have beautiful policies in Nigeria. I think it's about the issue we have is when it comes to implementation, then the M&E. So we have policies, so many on the table that are looking at us, how we can cushion hunger, poverty, because both of them goes hand in hand. They go hand in hand. So when people say, a farmer, in your head, you just feel like a farmer is a poor person. Farmer is a bad because they actually revolve around that poverty cycle. I farm now, I carry it to the market to sell at because I don't have machine to process, add value, or even preserve. And I take it to the farm. And the middleman that has money is okay, it prices me very low, and I sell at maybe below. I just want to get money to go buy some things and take back home because my family is expecting that I'll come back. This happens, but it's still
Point that they are not able to recover the cost of inputs.
yes, that they put there. That's the point I'm very nice. So at the end of the day, even at the end of the season, the farmer doesn't even have anyone he has seed, doesn't have money he has seed. And most of them don't have alternative source of income. It's just farming. And the few of them that have an alternative source of income, you find out that they've depended so much on it that they've even finished consuming the capital for secondary source of income stream. So at the end of the day, they are revolving in that poverty cycle. Year in, year out, they are waiting to be given intervention of input, fertilizer, and seeds. And they still farm, they still sell, and they still come back and they're there. That's why the poverty cycle is. Okay, so how can we reduce food loss at harvest? How can we provide support to for rural farmers, smallholder farmers who make about 60% of population to be able to add value to their produce and be able to make wide markups, increase their productivity and their income level, and at the end of the day, enhance their quality of life and standard of living, right? But it's still a very long conversation. And like I said, it still depends on the policies and how we are going about enacting them and implementing them further with.
All right. So, talking about the policies that favors the masses, How do you think both the masses and the youths can explore those opportunities?
Um, I think there are a lot of opportunities. Like I said, I think the first point of call is for you to check do your SWOT analysis. How what is your strengths, your weaknesses, and the opportunities.
I'm sorry to
See how
because I've had few people, most especially the youths and the middle age, they like, where do I start from? How do I meet up with this and all of that?
yes. So, like I said, just do your SWOT analysis and know yourself first of all, and see whether this passion is aligns with you. Then, of course, I think agriculture has a very wide value chain. So you might not be good in production, you might be good in primary processing, you might be good in secondary processing, you might actually be good in tertiary processing, where there's plenty of heavy machinery inside. I think that's where the people that have the money moguls, they are seated. And you might also decide to say, oh, as a startup, let me give for example, right? Fresh graduates, you don't have a source of income. You can decide to go into commodity aggregation and integration for people that want them. That's agricultural marketing, traditional agricultural marketing. Many don't know that there's an opportunity there.
Most people feel like they need money to start.
Ah, okay. I had a series 3 years ago where I told people that you don't actually need money per se to start in some areas of agriculture.
There's some areas.
Yes, some areas of agriculture, which I think it fits into the category of young persons that don't even have any source of income. And there are people that have source of income and they are looking to expand and they want to go into agriculture. There are areas that they could go to that fits perfectly for them, where they can crystallize ideas, expand, employ lots of persons, um, build jobs, both direct and indirect. But for you that you are not even a low income earner, you are a no income earner. So I think you can start with your smartphone, your Android phone, and go into agricultural marketing. And there is also I think it's one area that maybe in our next session I'll dive deeper in.
All right.
Yes. But there are also areas where you can do logistics and distribution. There's a lot of opportunity in logistics and distribution. So here you have to see vehicles coming from far north, down south. And when they are going up north, they are carrying from middle, north central, down south, north central, up, north central to Lagos. Lagos is like a very big market, right, for agricultural produce. So, but some people don't know that they can harness this opportunity. You can look into it. Then there's also branding, packaging, and the rest of them. There's also support services, for people that repair machines, people that sell vendors, input supply, and the rest of them. So there's a whole lot of value chain and everyone can benefit. Some people even just do warehousing, storage in agriculture. That is all they do. Come and save your bags of maize and sorghum and the rest for 6 months here. And every day you are paying 15 naira. So the person who has that structure already takes the money and is doing another kind of business. So it all depends on how much knowledge do you have about the business you want to go into? What is your SWOT? Does it align with your business, the business that you want to go to? And the area you are going to, how much knowledge do you have about it? Even when you think you want to employ someone as a manager, if you don't know amount of food that your chicks should eat in a day, how many eggs they should lay because you've not been, you just employed a manager, you are very easy to be scammed. And yes, when you put in so much, you might not even know that something is missing until it's a lot. Yes, it's a lot that they need that going on because you don't have idea. But if you had idea, you should know that, oh, my chickens peak period, they do this. On so days they eat more. In the evening they eat lesser. You get that.
Where the knowledge comes in.
That's where, because that's even the experience of the knowledge. You experience the knowledge that you have gotten because you've been able to put it into practice. So when you now employ a manager and the manager is now giving you feedback because of your prior knowledge and experience, you can now say, no, Ogasa, are you sure this figure is right? These chickens, is this what they used to lay? You are able to think critically and say, okay, let me look at your books again. And you are now able to identify the gaps and the loopholes and the lacunas. But if you've never had any idea about it, believe me, you just keep getting those reports and be looking at them and you think that the person is doing right. I can give, for instance, there's one poultry farm, very big, that was invested heavily in along Okene Abuja Expressway. And within 6 months, the place was completely gone. It was a big livestock farm, not just poultry. They had fishery, they had other livestock. But if you ask them today, it's just because of mismanagement. And I want to tell you categorically that the person who set up that farm was a footballer and had no idea in agriculture, but he had the resources. So it's not just about having the resources, but you have to have that training, have the knowledge of the business you are going into, be part of it for a little while and understand.
So the trend.
Aside knowing your SWOT, how much knowledge do you have about this business? Because of course, it's the knowledge you have about the business that is going to help you navigate through it. When the hurdles and the borders come, the economy policies the government just makes, how do you navigate? How do you thrive? Oh, it's not favoring me. How do you are able to project and envision that, oh, if we don't make a U-turn, if we don't reduce the size, if we don't do this, if we don't do that, if we don't maybe reduce some staffing or make them redundant or shift them to this category, shift them from warehousing, everybody should come to production. There should be more hands in production, there should be more hands in processing, there should be more hands in sales. That's when you now know, oh, this is how we can navigate this new policy. This is how you can navigate the current inflation of cost of production.
Yeah, because I've had cases whereby you'd see people, they employ managers just to give them, okay, maybe give me a feasibility study. I have 10 to 20 hectares of land, I want to go into this. And when they bring the budget, they just go into it without even having a prior knowledge of it. Wow. I have like over 100 questions to ask you because, wait, I'm really intrigued.
So I think at Sophie Farms, we do a lot of those trainings and again, mentoring. So if you ask me today, I would say that that's one area, if I had the opportunity, I'll go back to is having a proper mentoring. Although I had a lot of people that guided me, but they were more like indirect mentor. I had opportunities. But for you to have a mentor that you can fall back into, 247.
Yeah.
Oh, sir, this is his man, this is it, and
This current.
yes, because that person already has the experience. This is for young person that's just started. Yeah, because you don't even have the capital to start and say you are learning before you run a manja, but you should have a mentor. Someone that can put you through, that already has the experience. Not a mentor when you are doing agriculture. You can't have a mentor who is a journalist or a mentor who is a
You can imagine.
But a mentor that has had experience, years of experience in that particular sector that you are going into.
Oh, that's a beautiful one coming from my guest, Miss Ahmad Sefia Beauty. Thank you so much for joining us today. And we wish to explore more of the opportunities you are giving us in our subsequent sessions. So stay with us and don't hit the button because we are coming back soon with a lot of opportunities and information. Thank you so much for joining us. I guess thank you so much for giving us your first-hand experience, your challenges and opportunities you feel the youth and other people should explore. I'm saying thank you very much again. And that is coming from Miss Ahmad Sefia Beauty. Thank you for joining us. We hope
Pleasure.
see you soon. Bye.